Pokémon Platinum's Battle Frontier. I've heard a lot about it, but I have never tried it. In fact, I've never tried any Battle Frontier in Pokémon. I suppose the closest thing I have tried is the Academy Ace tournament in Pokémon Scarlet and Violet. But Pokémon Champions is a game that is really getting me excited to dive a lot deeper into the battling side of Pokémon. So to start getting myself a bit more up to speed, I thought I'd check out one of these post-game battle facilities. Pokémon Platinum's is the one I think I hear the most about, so let's boot up and let's see how this goes. So the Battle Frontier in Pokémon Platinum is actually split across multiple buildings. Didn't know that, I'm learning things already. And each building incorporates a different quirk into the battles that take place in it. Through winning certain numbers of consecutive battles in these buildings, you can earn battle points that can then be traded in for rare items. Stat enhancers, held items, TMs, stuff like that. If you win quite a lot of battles in a row, I believe the number is around 20 in each building, you get the opportunity to battle against the Frontier Brain of that facility. Kinda like a champion battle. Defeat them and you get a neat little silver or gold print depending on the amount of battles you've won in a row at that point. Sounds good, let's do it. I'm gonna have a single run through each facility. And my goal here is very modest. I just want to get myself into a battle with at least one of the Frontier Brains. Here we go. I thought I'd start off nice and simple with the Battle Tower. It's dead center, right at the top of the Battle Frontier area, and it's just straight up Pokemon battling. In here, you choose 3 Pokemon to take in with you, and you keep battling until you lose. Legendaries are banned though, so my initial scheme to plow through with Giratina fell flat on its face pretty quickly. Much like in Pokemon VGC, all the Pokemon's levels are flattened out to level 50 as well. So I headed on in, and faced up to my first opponent. And the first Pokemon I had to take down? A Bagon. Straight in the deep end with a pseudo-legendary. Okay. But I was finding things fairly cushy. I didn't really have any dicey moments early on. And I won my first 4 battles without having a single one of my Pokemon faint, which is a big deal for me, trust me. My first casualty came in the 5th battle at the hands of a Nidorina. As long as you win the 3-on-3 though, it's all good, because in the Battle Tower, your Pokemon all get healed up between battles. I learned that you do these battles in batches of 7. Once you've won 7, it boots you back to the entrance again, and you go back in for the next batch. So, of course, I lost my 7th battle, losing my streak before even completing a single run-through, eventually going down to a scratch attack from a Zangoose. The less we say about that, the better. You know what though? I'm willing to call that a practice round. Let's have a bit of a rethink and we'll run it again for real. I know now that you can't use legendaries like Giratina, so let's throw him in the PC and bring Tyranitar into the party. It's one hell of a reinforcement, but I have a feeling I'm going to need all the help I can get. And so we start the proper run. Tyranitar made an instant impact, pretty much soloing the first 2 trainers by itself, with Luxray's electric attacks also coming in clutch here and there as well. One thing I was really enjoying about these battles was the amount of Pokemon I was coming up against that I hadn't seen throughout my entire Pokemon Platinum playthrough, like fossil Pokemon or starter Pokemon from different generations. And I think that was really important, because it stopped the battles from being monotonous. My brain was constantly being stimulated by all these random, unexpected opponents. And before I knew it, I had cleared the first round of 7 battles. Okay, awesome. I think I'm getting a feel for it. Let's go again. There definitely seems to be an element of luck to this. If you fall unlucky with a matchup, especially with the first Pokemon, things can get a bit precarious. All the battles across the Battle Frontier use set mode as well, so you don't have the option to swap out when a new Pokemon is about to enter the fray. At the same time, if you're prepared enough, you should be able to tackle just about anything. Teaching my Tyranitar Avalanche definitely bailed me out of a couple of tight spots here, although I did pick up on one flaw within this 3 Pokemon team I decided to push on with. They're all weak against ground types, so that's something I had to keep a close eye on, and something I could foresee being my undoing at some point. But we scrapped through, and won our second round of 7 battles. We're cooking. Round 3. Started well. I'm feeling good. Could we actually get ourselves in front of a Frontier Brain in the first building? It seemed like a real possibility. Until a very mean looking Camerupt popped out onto the battlefield in the second battle. A Camerupt that knew Earth Power. One of those dreaded powerful ground type moves I'd been fearing. And it dismantled my entire team. But at least I called it, I guess. So I fell at 16 battles. Still not too bad by my standards. We're sadly gonna have to move on though. Next, let's head on over to the Battle Hall. This is where things start to get a bit frillier. You actually choose just the one Pokemon to take in with you here, and then you choose which type of Pokemon you want to go up against in a straight up one-on-one. My Tyranitar being a rock type, also with a pretty powerful ground type move in Earthquake, I thought I'd go against a fire type. I noticed that your Pokemon's level stays the same as it actually is in here as well, which seemed really unfair at first, but then I saw the concept. Once you've beaten a rank 1 of a certain type, you can advance to rank 2, which will be slightly higher level, and then that keeps going all the way up to rank 10. I was able to kind of turn my mind off here and spam Earthquake for a while, as I made my way up the fire rank. Until rank 9, where an Infernape rocked up and one-hit KO'd me with a close combat. Evidently, as the ranks get higher, the Pokemon start to learn funkier moves that counter its direct weaknesses. Should have seen that coming really. Well, that was fun anyway, I like the concept, but we've unfortunately fallen pretty early on here. Over to the Battle Factory next. In this area of the Battle Frontier, you don't use any of your own Pokemon. Instead, you use rental Pokemon, which I've always really enjoyed the idea of. It gives you a chance to play around and use some Pokemon you'd perhaps never have thought of using before. The staff member at the door will also tell you which Pokemon the trainer you're about to battle has on their team too. So that gives you a bit of direction in choosing which Pokemon to rent. So, armed with a Swablu, a Beedrill and a Shieldon, I was ready to rock. Or rock Tomb anyway. Shieldon was a real MVP in these first couple of battles. Once you've defeated a trainer as well, you have the option to switch out one of your Pokemon with one of theirs for the next match. So I saw that the second trainer had an Onix, so I switched in Bulbasaur to help me take it down. The third battle turned into a real war of attrition, with 2 grass types being the last ones standing, but after what felt like an age, we just about scraped through. In the fifth battle, along came another Onix. That's all good, we've still got Bulbasaur. Except this Onix flinched it, and then took it down the next turn. Then proceeded to one-hit KO my Shieldon with a dig, and it was all over. That's 3 out of 5 facilities, and no Frontier Brain battles yet. It's not looking great, is it? But we've got to try to stay positive. Sounds like a good time to take a breather and tell you guys about a great collaboration we've got going on with this video. Today, I've teamed up with the guys at PokeDoku. If you don't know what PokeDoku is, it's an awesome daily puzzle game where you have to correctly guess the Pokemon that correspond to each of the 9 squares in the grid, based on the categories you're given for each row and column. It's a load of fun, and today's puzzle was created by me, featuring Pokemon that make appearances throughout this video. So definitely head over there when we're done, give it a go, and let me know how you did. I'll throw a link down in the description and also the pinned comment. Thanks so much to PokeDoku for teaming up with me on this one, and letting me create my own puzzle. I had a blast cooking this up. Let's get back to hunting down those Frontier Brains. Over to the Battle Castle now. We're back to bringing in 3 of our own Pokemon in this one. So I stuck with my famous 3, who are terrifyingly weak to ground types, because I'm stubborn as hell. But in the Battle Castle, your Pokemon aren't healed after each battle, nor is their moves PP refilled either. Instead, you have to carefully spend castle points you earn from winning battles to patch up your Pokemon for the next fight. And you can also buy berries for them to hold too. Believe me, those do come in handy, I'd highly recommend it. I think this was my favourite facility yet. I'd started to watch YouTube videos in the background while I was doing the last 1 or 2 facilities, but this snapped my attention fully back onto the game, because you do have to think a bit more with this one. One thing I'm learning throughout this process is that you can't take any of these Pokemon for granted. I never thought I'd see a Tentacool defeat a Tyranitar, but it happened. Also, this was my first Pokemon to get knocked out. When you finish the battle, the staff member tells you that your Pokemon has been revived, but it only gets revived to 1 HP. You still need to spend the castle points to heal it up. How did I find this out? The hard way, of course. But we soldiered through, and somehow I found myself deep into my 3rd round of 7 battles, where in the 5th battle, I was certain I was going to kick it against a Crawdont. But Tyranitar slammed out a Hyper Beam to just about get us over the line. Then battle number 6 came along, and the most unlikely spanner into my plans. A Chimecho. This tiny little wind chime Pokemon was devastating. It put my Luxray to sleep and ruthlessly dispatched it. Then it did the exact same thing to my Infernape. It tried to do it to Tyranitar, but it just managed to dodge away from it and take the horrible critter down. But by then, the damage was done. Venomoth poisoned Tyranitar, and Mightyena finished it off. The 6th battle of the 3rd run. We were 1 battle away from facing the Frontier Brain. I was sat, head in my hands. I was gutted. There was one facility left. The Battle Arcade. My morale is pretty low now anyway. I just wanted to enjoy myself with this one. The Battle Arcade has you choose 3 Pokemon, they're all flattened out to level 50, and the fun quirk with this one is that before each battle, you play this little game show game where you have to try to stop the square on an effect that's advantageous for you, and avoid the ones that give you a handicap. So of course, for the first battle, I land on a square that gives my entire team paralysis. This has been a hoot and a half. But despite me rolling negative effects on myself multiple times, I made it through the first few battles. It was battle 5 before I was finally able to land on something that gave me an advantage. As I was jumping into the 2nd round of 7 battles, and I was starting to learn what the different tiles do, I decided that the best strategy a lot of the time was just to try and land on one of the tiles that makes nothing happen. Just let me battle on even ground. And it worked. I got myself into the 3rd round of battles. I didn't want to get excited. I've been here before. And I was right not to, because in the 2nd battle of this round, I hit one of the game squares that reduced the HP of my Pokemon. This wasn't good. Down went Infernape early on. Down went Tyranitar. Thankfully, Luxray swept things up. Battles 3 and 4 were pretty much a cakewalk. In Battle 5, we pushed through Paralysis once again to snag the win, and I found myself nearly on the cusp in Battle number 6. I came into this final facility just wanting to have fun. I'd given up on facing the Frontier Brains. I'm not at that level yet. I'd accepted it. But when I managed to take down this tanky Purugly, the preceding interaction went a little differently. Our Frontier Brain is demanding a match with you. It is happening. After all the blood, sweat and heartbreak, we have ourselves a match against the Frontier Brain of the Battle Arcade, Dahlia. I was fairly confident about the matchup going into it as well. And I even managed to land on a square that poisoned all of her Pokemon. This is all coming together so nicely. We step up to the plate, with Dahlia's first Pokemon being Ludicolo. And it completely demolished all 3 of my Pokemon. I couldn't even get close to this thing. Oh dear. But we achieved our goal, right at the very end. We got ourselves a match against one of the Frontier Brains. I am counting that as a win in itself. What a ride. I can absolutely see why people are pining for this kind of thing to come back in newer games. Because what we have nowadays, by comparison, isn't nearly this stimulating or exciting. I really liked the ones that did a little bit more than just battle 3 random level 50 Pokemon as many times as you can without losing. This was fun. Thanks again to PokeDoku for reaching out and giving me the opportunity to create my own PokeDoku board. Definitely go check it out, it's a really fun daily challenge. And for now, let me know in the comments what you think of the Battle Frontier. Should these things be implemented in the newer games? And let us know any fun or weird stories you have from them as well. I'm sure there are a few floating around out there. Please do drop a like on the video while you're down there. Thanks so much for hanging out, and I will catch you all in the next one.